Hi, guys, and welcome. This is Sunday, September, not June, like I said yesterday, September 7th. And we're going to, yes, you're wondering what that is. We're going to be playing with the technique in a second, so I'm trying to keep my fingers from being too inky. I just put my contacts in after wearing my glasses all weekend, so sometimes I have to kind of like move the contacts around on my eye a little bit within the first couple hours. So that's why I don't want to get anything on my fingers for this technique. All right, so we're going to use the Light and Wonder, and we are going to be working on a technique using this stamp set. So I know we don't carry vellum anymore, but I'm going to be using this technique with vellum. So this was 6 inches by 4 1/4, and I scored lightly at 1/4 of an inch. This is because when you adhere vellum, sometimes that adhesive will show through. So this way I can wrap it around the card base. And I'm using blends. I am using here the Highland Heather, the Azure Afternoon, and the Blackberry Bliss. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very thin layer of the Blackberry Bliss at the bottom. Now, we're using a technique, so you're not going to color it in completely. Then I'm going to go in with my, let's do it all at once. Let's do now the Highland Heather. Again, we're leaving some spaces. And now we're going to go in with our Azure. I say Azure, but I think some people say Azure. Deidre's not up, so I can't ask her. She's my art student. So I'm going to do a big bunch of that Azure Afternoon up there. All right, the other thing you're going to need is alcohol. I prefer to use a 91% alcohol. Some people get good results with the 70%, whatever it is, but I like using the 91. All right, so I am going to spritz that vellum pretty liberally with that alcohol. And now I'm going to take my heat gun. I'm going to warm it up a little bit off camera here. And we're going to come in and move that alcohol. Now the alcohol is going to dry pretty quickly, but we're going to kind of move it around a little bit. You want to stay kind of far away from the vellum, and I hope you can still hear me. You kind of want to stay far away from the vellum. You don't want to burn it. So we're just kind of moving it around a little bit. And I'm not really keeping it in place for very long. All right. Turn it off for a second. Oh my goodness. Did you hear that? That fell on the floor. And it hit my carpet, so hopefully my carpet's not singed. All right, I'm going to bring this up for a second. I'm going to take my microfiber cloth and just get some of that off of there. Now, if you don't have a heat gun, you can let it dry overnight. Some people also have gotten one of those baby aspirators, for like the nose, and they've used that to help with blowing it around. I'm just going to quickly go on the back there. And then I always have a piece of white cardstock that I use to kind of help blot and dry it. So we're going to see if we want to go in with any more color. All right. So, and here, let me show you what we're looking for. We're looking to see on the other side how it looks. Now see, that's still too concentrated up there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in now with my Highland Heather again. I'm going to go right over where we had that before. So I'm mixing the Highland Heather in there. I'm mixing some Azure Afternoon in there. And let's just, I think I have a little bit of, oh, I have very little alcohol left. I'll have to see if I have enough to do this. No. So I do also have it in this little spritzer thing, so I'll just go ahead and use that. All right, now let's get this going again. And I'm sorry if this is really loud. Again, I'm not getting too close to the vellum. So I don't want to melt that vellum. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Make sure that this stays on my side counter and doesn't fall down again. Let's put that cardstock in there to blot it up. And here's where I will go ahead. Oops, sorry that you're seeing my arm. Probably love it. I'll grab a paper towel to get a lot of that soaked up. All right, let's take this off. I have a little bit on that side. All right, so here's the side that we colored on. We're going to turn this over. We're going to get our piece of cardstock, and we're going to go ahead and adhere it. Too far up. Oh, I can take these off now. So these are just little fingertip things I got off of, you know, that Bezos company. All right. Put that over here. All right. So now I'm going to run a thin bead of glue . I have to get my other glue bottle. This one seems like it's pretty. Again, we're going to let that dry somewhat. And we'll put it off to the side. You know what? No, let's go ahead and do it right now. So let's go ahead, make sure that it's just holding on to it for a second. And look at that. I didn't get it as, I did another example because I was afraid that it was going to work. We can put this one over vanilla. I think it really looks better over white though. So let me see. I don't think I have another white card base. Go ahead. Just chop one off over here at the side. All right. Go ahead. Fold that in half. Get out my bone folder. Let's show you what this one looks like. So there's that one. I think I'm going to use this one. Even though it's dark down here, I'm going to be covering that up. So let me go ahead and put another bead of glue. Let me get this one. This is not the one I usually use, so this one might come out pretty fast. Just putting a thin bead of glue down that. Make sure that we're pretty well lined up. Oh, I need to move it down just a little bit. You know, I'm just going to leave it because the vellum is already starting to crack anyway. We'll just end up trimming that a little bit off and down here. Yeah, we'll do it right now. All right, there we go. So now, oh, silly Roxy, here, let me go over to my heavy duty trimmer. All right, so here we have that. Here's some stuff that we cut yesterday. Now we stamped these, but I just went ahead and cut out around them. Let's figure out how we want this to go. I think I want it more like that, more centered. So let's grab out our silicone mat. So we're going to lay it down this way. So this is the side we're going to be working on. Let's get out our silicone basting brush. Let's put some glue down there. And let's get those glue dots on there. Don't move this so the glue doesn't get on the front side. All right, I think I got enough glue dots down there to hold on to that. We'll let that dry and then we'll just rub that off later. There, we got that on the bottom. We'll go ahead and put a block on there to hold it down for a second. All right, let's go back to our stamp set here. And I think I'm going to say, may your day be filled, and then we'll do the magic. Now, oh, that's not sticking very well there. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. All right, so now we have, that's pretty sticky there now. So hang on a second. Let me go ahead, get these out of the way, and let's go ahead and put that alcohol down again so I can get all those glue pieces up. There we go. Now it feels smooth. All right. So let's bring those pieces back. So since this is vellum, I need to stamp probably with StazOn. But what I'll do instead is, I don't know if I still have those pieces out that I cut yesterday. Oh, but they're not in white. All right, let's take a scrap of white. You know what, let's use this. Why not? Because then it'll kind of blend in a little bit. So we'll go ahead and we'll stamp it right there. That way we can use our memento. Oh, there's a little bit of fold on there. You see how my E is? Let me see if I can get it on the other side a little bit better. Stay away from that fold. There. It's a little bit better. take out the snips. Yes, I am sorry. The snips are now discontinued. The manufacturer quit making them. But that doesn't mean, and usually you move your paper instead of your scissors, but since these are mostly, now I'll move my paper, mostly a straight line, I find that you can go straight on that. But then once you go to curving it again around here, then you want to move your paper. All right. So we're going to go ahead and put that down. I have to fill up all my clues, it seems like. I just got glue down on there again. Yep, I don't have any glue on that side. This is what happens when you create all day Saturday and you forget to fill up your glue bottles. All right, now there it is. I have a lot of glue on there now and I don't want to get sticky. It's going to smush out because I didn't let it dry long enough. But let's go ahead and just put that there. Let me put a little block over that so it stays down. Let's go ahead. I think we want to do the magic. All right, so here, this is the one that's really pretty low. So let me get that on there. I am going to let that dry for just a sec while I get this off my hands. So we'll put these off to the side for later use. There's quite a few embellishments that I think work really well with this set. I think the iridescent foil gems, those are from the annual catalog because they're in green. I think the holographic resin dots, they're an online exclusive. That's why the tag here is blue. I really think the two-tone sparkle gems are the best. And they're also an online exclusive. I did get, I said I wasn't going to buy any more embellishments because I have so many of them. But these are from, they're yellow, are from the mini catalog. I think these frosted iridescents would also work good with them. Even though I got the snowflakes, they do have stars. I think the snowflakes work good with it. And that's probably about it. Yeah, the rest of those really don't work that great. So those are ones that were just introduced September 3rd. All right, so let's go ahead. I think this had enough time to do a little bit of drying. I'm getting that G right over that part of the tree that's sticking up. All right, we'll let that adhere for a second. Do some tidying up here. All right, so here's the other one we did that we didn't use, but that would be another great one to be able to use. If you don't like the way this looks, just put another layer in there of cardstock, or you cut it down just 1/4 of an inch all around and you can put it as a panel in there. All right, so let's go ahead here. Let's get our scissors. We're going to go ahead and cut off those pieces that are lying over. You could do this in your paper trimmer if you want. Get put that into my little wastebasket down here. And then let's go ahead. I use these a lot. I have like 6 packages because I love these so much. I love the color combination. So let's go ahead and cut that one open on the side, even though I have one already open, but I don't have any of the small ones left. So let's go ahead and do that on the side. And let's grab a couple of those small ones. And there you have it. We put this back away. And there you have our card. All right, let me show you a couple others that I did yesterday. Where did I put them on my desk over here? Oh, they're over here. So here's where I used that 6x6 paper. And what I did was, and I think you saw here, I had these 2 pieces. I did them back to back like that, cut up through at the same time. And then, so then it'll cut this out in the trees and this out in the trees. That way you can go ahead and lie them into one another. But then for the remainder, I flipped it over. There's going to be a little bit of an edge. You just run that through your, a little bit of an edge. Because when you cut with the die cut, you get very smooth in the front, but the back sometimes has just a little bit of a lip or an edge. So I just ran that through the Stamp Emboss machine just with plates, and it flattened it down. So here's that one. Here, see, I used those snowflakes instead of stars. And then I used those holographic down here. And then on this one, oh here, this is the one. See how these are, so this one was flipped over. But that way you can get those lined up perfectly. Here I just took those big letters, or big words, I'm sorry. Did them in a random pattern across and put that on a panel card. So there you are, guys. What do you think about them? You want to give me that thumbs up? Subscribe if you haven't already. Share my website. Share my channel with your friends. Most of all, have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday. It's the big Sunday NFL kickoff, so I hope your teams do well. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye for now.